Termites. How do you like my blinking hat? Do you see it says little STL, little Cardinals? Somebody St. Louis Cardinals blinking. Christmas hat! You'll see this one before Christmas. So Merry Christmas early or whenever you see it. How do you like this, huh? The baby Kroger. That's where I got that. Look, it's got red and white leaves. Much fancier, I think. The red ones are pretty, but it's kind of boring over and over. Red, and I like the green, although at night sometimes that looks black, which is kind of weird. Probably should have gone with silver. What are we drinking? A Christmas margarita. Doesn't that sound still, I mean, what fucking doesn't sound delicious at this point in the house? Anything. I'll even try alcohol I don't even care for, just out of boredom. This is my friend Ron's tequila. This is the less expensive one. That's why, because I don't really appreciate tequila anyway. And this is Topo Chico. It's Mexican mineral water. At least that's what I'm told. I don't really know if that's true. And then look, I stole these glasses. I tried to buy them. Nobody was around. So I stole two. I don't even remember from where. I don't know. Oh, I know where I stole them from. Canada. I did. I'm not going to say which hotel, but I remember. And it's fancy. All right, termites. How you doing? Are you excited? Christmas should still be fun, right? Everybody's just got to, a couple more months, get to some vaccines. Everything will be fine. This will be like a weird dream. You won't even know what happened. That's what I'm trying to tell myself. Right? I'd get a dog, but I know I'm going to have to go back on the road, and then what? A dog that you take with you? I like bigger dogs. And I don't really think a beagle would do alone, alone in a Marriott Courtyard. I think that beagle would cause some shit. And that's not even a big dog. A lab, I'd like a lab, Can't put that in my purse and act like it's not there. What dog? Roof! Let's get back to some Loretta, or as Mama calls her, Loretti. You know what's crazy is all of this is true. Some of these things I wouldn't tell people. But that's one good thing about hillbillies. They'll just tell you flat out. Even if it might be embarrassing. They don't seem to care. I got to thinking about friends who fight. Me and the Wilburns fought like kinfolk, but we would never tolerate anyone else saying a bad word about the other. In fact, there ain't much we haven't said to each other's faces in offices, studios, on the buses, in court. Oh, right, I read that paragraph. Now I know. Like there was a Wilburn hole in my movie, there's also a Jackson hole in this book. In Coal Miner's Daughter, I wrote a chapter about my friends, the Johnson sisters. Ludilla? Wow, that's a name. Ludilla. Loudilla. Ludilla. Loretta and Kay. That's going way back. Kay. Nobody's named Kay anymore. Them girls was my first official fans, the ones who started my fan club and stuck with me for years. Shoot, we started the whole weeks-long event called Fanfare together. Wow, she started Fanfare. I don't even really care about country music, but I know they have a week called Fanfare, and they make everybody go to this giant place. I'm pretty sure it's in Nashville. And then you could just walk right up and get shit signed, and that's another good thing about country music. It's not really my thing, but they are very fan-friendly. I think it'd be really funny if you made all the hair bands from the 80s who still want to do corporate gigs, make them do Fanfare. And then you could go up to a table and Poison would just be sitting there. Or Rat. Remember Rat? 2 T's. Rat. A few years back, me and the girls and me disagreed on a big issue. They got rid of the Loretta fan club reps we had in each state. Oh, no. I didn't think it should be done. Because in my mind, you can't run a fan club without representatives in every state. Well, maybe back then. I think now you could. The rift grew and changed out to be so big that I shut the fan club down. Oh, no. And we parted company. Trouble that size usually only happens in families, and in many ways, the girls and me was a family. I ain't seen or spoke to them in a long, long time. I hoped they'd come to Dew's little's funeral, but they didn't. I looked for them that day. Dew had moved on to heaven and hell. Oh, Dew had moved heaven and hell to go to their daddy's funeral. I don't hold it against them, though. Kind of sounds like a little bit. They might have thought they wasn't welcome. Loretta Johnson has been sick the past couple of years, and folks will bring her stories about her health to me. I was worried about her, but I never had the courage to pick up the telephone until while I was working on this book. When I finally phoned, they didn't want to talk. Well, there you have it. Still, I will just say this, girls. I still love you no matter what all was said and done. I pray for you, Loretta. I pray mighty hard, and if I know if I was sick, you would do the same for me. Losing the Johnsons leaves not only a hole in this book, but one in my heart. Well, that's a sad story about a fan club gone bad. It's hard enough to find tried and true friends in any walk of life, but in the entertainers business, it's double hard. People ain't around all the time, and some entertainers get paranoid about somebody they think is taking up a top spot they ought to have. Jealousy is truly a troublemaking little devil, and for that reason, I love the singers who don't even know the meaning of the word. Every so often, an interview will ask me what female singers I consider to be my competition in the business. I have to honestly say, nobody. That's right. It's your own game. You just play golf. Just watch your own ball, move forward. I think people are more competitive when they're younger. That's what sets us artists apart. Owen Bradley knew it when he made me wait until I had songs that defined me and set me apart from Kitty Wales. If you turn on the radio and ain't got a clue who is singing because they sound like every other voice on the radio, in my opinion, that singer is in trouble. I would agree with that. And that is the story of today. Not that I don't believe in competition. It makes you work harder, and that never hurt nobody. Still, since nobody was doing exactly what I was, I didn't think much about it. Exactly. And you can only do what you do. Do what you do. Even if you want to be somebody else, you can't. You can't just make that happen. But if I was asked who made me sit up and take notice first time I heard him, I'd start with a voice I heard on a car radio in 1967. I was driving to a show with my brother Jay Lee when a song and a singer came on the radio that took my breath away. I reached out and turned it on. The song was Apartment Number 9, and the DJ said the singer was an Alabama girl named Tammy Wynette. Daggone, I said to Jay Lee, did you hear that? He was shaking his head because he heard the same piece of magic. I would have to go revisit some Tammy Wynette songs because they all talk about her like, I just remember, stand by your man. And then when Hillary said that, I ain't no Tammy Wynette, because for a while Hillary had an Arkansas accent. What? I ain't no Tammy Wynette just standing by my man, and then that caused all those troubles. But I think Tammy had already died by then, so she probably didn't give a shit. If I was a singer who worried about competition, Tammy would have scared me half to death. When I got back to town and heard more about Tammy, I knew I was going to love her. She'd come to town with 3 little girls and not a penny to her name. I like people who will chase a dream. Well, there's dream chasing, and then there's just pre-planning a little bit. Yeah. No matter how tough it is, I especially like the women who aren't afraid to get out on their own. Tammy didn't know nobody in this town when she packed up her car and drove to Nashville. She traipsed in there looking around for somebody to help her until she run into Billy Sherrill. She couldn't find nobody better. Along with Owen Bradley and Chet Atkins, Billy was not just a powerful man, he was a good man. And he could spot a star in Tammy. One thing I did as fast as I could, I welcomed Tammy Wynette to town just like Patsy Cline had welcomed me. Like Patsy, Tammy became my best friend. Best friends are like husbands. You only need one at a time. Write that on your inspirational calendar. Tammy wasn't outspoken like Patsy, but you could never count on her. But you could never count her out if words was flying. I remember one time around 1980, Tammy was on some show with several other women artists. While they was backstage, this one girl who had a couple of hits said, I think you older women ought to move over and give us younger ones a chance. Tammy didn't miss a trick. She just smiled sweetly and said, move me. Ooh. That tickled the tar out of me. Right after I got gone, I made that part up. I don't think Tammy ever got over her fear of being poor. Most poor folks don't. I never did. Patsy Cline never did. But here's the difference. I ain't scared of being poor. They tell me the day I ain't got a cent, I just put up some green beans and drag one out of dude's old rifles to shoot my dinner. I ain't gonna go hungry. Tammy worried about it. She kept her beauty operator, wow, that's a throwback. She kept her beauty operator's license up to date because she was afraid the bottom would drop out of her singing career. Then, on the other hand, she'd spend more money than she had because, like a lot of people raised up poor, she loved nice things. As a matter of fact, she loved them too much. And sometimes that put her in money trouble. Oh, I see something not good coming to this story here. I'm not that way. All I ever cared about was having a comfortable home, a soft bed, and enough to eat. Cars don't mean nothing to me. Me neither, Loretta. I have a 2007 Mercury Mariner, and I love it. It doesn't have many miles on it. That's why it's fine still, because normally, except for pandemics, I don't drive it that much when I am home, because I don't want to go out, usually, when I'm only home for a day. Who cares? And neither does fancy houses. Loretta don't care about fancy houses. But to Tammy, that meant she was making it. And I don't fault her for it. Tammy's health was a problem for years. Her body would form scar tissue every time she had an operation, and she'd have to have it removed. Then she'd get more scar tissues from that operation. It just went on and on and on. And she was in pain all the time. I honestly don't know how she stood it, especially working as much as she did. Tammy and I used to get together and stay up talking like teenage girls. Once, in the mid-'80s, Tammy was hospitalized in Atlanta. I was playing a show in Macon, Georgia, and I was about to go to bed that night when there's this knock on the hotel room door. I thought, what the fire? I'm going to start saying that. What the fire? Who could that be? I opened the door, and there stood Tammy Wynette in a house coat and slippers. What are you doing? You're supposed to be in the hospital. Well, I'm not, she said with a big grin, but I'll sneak back in before they know I'm gone. She had somebody fly her from Atlanta to Macon, drive her to my room. They was coming back to pick her up the next morning. You can't tell me at least one of them nurses didn't know she snuck out. We stayed up the whole night and told George Jones stories we knew. Then her pilot knocked on the door and they made her run back to Atlanta. That night, when it come time for me to sing, I'd almost lost my voice, so I apologized that I said, folks, I spent the whole night sitting up with Tammy Wynette gossiping about George Jones. Now I know she's supposed to be in the hospital, but believe it, for at least a few hours, she was in my hotel room right here in Macon. Tammy was always pulling little jokes. I think it is say what kind of condition this is that you get a scar and then you cut back into that scar to get another scar. I'll have to giggle that. Most people didn't know her well, find that odd that she liked little jokes because she never came across as a funny person, but more of a serious one. She could be funny, though. Believe that, too. Tammy and me used to laugh about all the time about the fact that we had these images we never lived up to or down to. Tammy was right in the middle of dumping in a husband when she recorded Stand By Your Man. Oh. Then for the rest of her life, she used her as a poster child of the rest of her life. People used her as the poster child for long-suffering wives. Shoot, Tammy would drop them right and left if they weren't treating her right. I've heard Tammy say, oh, yeah, I stood by them all right. Then I was out there singing my songs, which made me sound like the one who'd whoop up on a man in a minute. That was Loretta's. Yeah, that's right. She'd just punch you in a minute, and she did. And I was the one staying married and standing by dude through God knows what. Exactly. These two stories are reversed. One of the funniest sights I ever saw was in the mid-'80s when Tammy and George Ritchie come to Hawaii to visit Dew and me at this place we'd bought over there. Oh, he bought a place in Hawaii, too. This guy cannot spend her money fucking fast enough. And is he working? It doesn't seem like it. I guess he's just buying things. You have to do the research, I suppose. You got to do the paperwork. We got to the airport to pick him up, and there they stood holding full-length mink coats. It was hot as it could be, and they standing there in mink in sunglasses. I had to laugh because they sure looked like a couple of country stars right there. All I could think of was Cal Smith singing, "Hello, Country Bumpkin." They stayed for 2 weeks, and while Dew and Richie were out fishing or roaming around, Tammy and me did nothing but lay around the house and girl talk. We didn't move unless we wanted something to eat. I'd haul myself off the couch and head to the kitchen. Tammy would ask if I'd bring her a sandwich. Bologna one time. I love bologna. Fried bologna. Oscar Mayer, thinly sliced, on white bread. What? With Midwest what? Miracle Whip. Wonder Bread. Fried bologna. So good. I haven't had one in a long time. Maybe I'll make one in quarantine. They stayed for 2 weeks. Bologna one time, peanut butter next time. Next time, she'd be the one that would get up and head to the icebox. I said icebox till I was probably 15. That's what I grew up with. And then I don't know when it turned into fridge, but I will still occasionally go, it's in the icebox. And then my nieces look at me like I'm a time traveler. Go get the ice. Go to the ice box. We had a ball doing absolutely nothing. The one time we were ever come close to having words, I love it when she says having words were a-flying. Like there's no control. It just comes out and that's that. It was 1977 Academy of Music Awards in Los Angeles. Tammy came to my dressing room and asked if she could dress in there with me. I said sure she could. Just as she was walking out to rehearse her song, she asked me to keep a watch out for Dinah Shore and let me know if she was coming backstage. So I did. And about the time Tammy was finished, I noticed Diana standing in the halls talking to somebody. I went over and told Tammy, and she rushed out so fast she forgot her hat. I still have it somewhere. I didn't see Tammy again until several days after the show, and I asked her if she got to talk with Dinah. Oh, no, Tammy said. I was ducking her. Oh, why? Well, Tammy was going out with Burt Reynolds, and he was going to meet up with her. They didn't want to run into Diana. That came close to making me mad. Tammy, why'd you drag me into that? Dinah is a friend of mine. If I'd have known you two were trying to pull something on her, I'd have whooped you both. But she just laughed. Later, Tammy told some folks she couldn't have married Burt because they'd fight over the mirrors too much. Ha, 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 ha. Tammy worked too hard. Her health was too bad for her to be playing the dates she did during the last few years of her life. She was gone way before she should have been. And for me, the saddest part is that I truly do not believe she ever found real love. Well, that is sad. I think she was searching for it right up to the end, and that includes George Jones and George Ritchie. Neither one of them was the right man for Tammy. And even though she never said it in so many words, I think she knew. After Tammy died in 1988, I was surprised to hear George Ritchie was going to sell that beautiful home they owned on Franklin Road in Nashville. Tammy loved that house, and it was one of the things that was always a reminder that she still wasn't picking cotton. I own 2 houses in Nashville over in an area called Ellinston Place. They ain't big, but they are big, but they ain't fancy. Nothing you gonna see on Lifestyles or the Rich and Famous. One of them is rented out as office space, and after Dew died, I didn't like staying out at Hurricane Mills as much, so I thought maybe I'd put a bid in on Tammy's house. It'd be like keeping it in the family. I was told the asking price was $7 million. What? Since I don't want to mortgage the farm to buy it, I backed off. Later, I heard it stayed on the market for quite a while, and George finally sold it for a whole lot less. If he'd have called me back, I'd have been over there and moved my stuff into one room and built a shrine to Tammy in the next. Well, I think that'll be a good place to stop, termites. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. And, it's a weird one, but so what? Life is weird. What are you going to do? Nothing. And what else do I have for you? The Sound of Music. I taped it. It's going to be on Christmas now. I'm going to watch it on Christmas Eve. Here's the greatest Sound of Music story ever. When my younger sister, who's 10 years younger than me, was like 12, maybe 13, I put a VCR in the tape. That's all, a VCR in the a tape into the VCR, and I was going to tape The Sound of Music because they quit showing it on Christmas night. And I told her, you don't have to do anything. I was leaving the house. It'll do it by itself. Okay, fine. So I leave Christmas night or Christmas Eve, whenever. I think Christmas Eve. I put the movie in, and right at the part where he says he's going to marry Julie Andrews and they're in the gazebo, the movie ended. And I was like, shit, what happened to the rest of the movie? That's when the Nazis come. And she goes, oh, I turned it off there because I think that's where it should end. What? Like, what do you fucking think you're Ted Turner? You can't edit classics. You can't make up your own endings. So then I went and bought it as a joke. Then I went on eBay and bought her Sound of Music dinner plates in an auction that got extremely involved. And I was supposed to be on stage in D.C. at the Improv. This is 10 years, no, longer, 15 years ago, maybe 20. And I actually cut my act short that night because I was afraid the eBay auction was going to end and I was going to lose my plates. I still owe those people 7 minutes worth of jokes. Wherever you are, if you felt like it was a short show, there was a good reason. All right, termites. You guys have a good Christmas, and then we're going to head into New Year's. Won't that be fun? Huh? Maybe 2020, maybe just the number, 2021, maybe just the number will change the vibe. Yep, probably. All right, that's it. Are you cozy? I have my little Hudson Bay Canadian blanket. I'm very cozy. And pull your blanket up. You're a good termite. You're a Christmas termite. You're a worthy termite. Even if you don't care about Christmas, all of the above still apply. Maybe you're a Hanukkah termite. Maybe you're a Kwanzaa termite. Maybe you're a no-holiday termite. Maybe you don't care about the holidays. That's fine, too. You don't have to. So that's it, termites. Pull that sheet up. You ready? Night-night, termites.